My name is Colleen Skaroulis, and I'm going to take a few minutes to demo my banking application. First, we'll click through the app, and then we'll discuss the challenges and the design decisions. This app's been deployed to an AWS S3 bucket, and it is hosted as a static website. On the far left of the nav bar, the user can see the name of the site, which is also a link to the home page. On the far right of the nav bar, the user can see the site's navigation links, along with pop-ups. When we click on a link, it gets highlighted so that the user knows the link represents the current page. In the All Data page, the user can see the current list of accounts. The table was built using a Bootstrap component. The page gives the user the ability to enter a name, an email, and a password. The Submit button starts off in a disabled state, and it becomes enabled only after all form fields have been populated. So I'll go ahead and demo that for you. Once it's submitted, the user gets a success message and the ability to add another account. So we'll add another account, and you can see the success message again. Success. And if you go over to the All Data tab, you can see the newly created accounts in the table. And next we'll deposit some cash. The deposit card shows us the current balance, and it allows the user to enter deposit amount. The Submit button also starts off from a disabled state and becomes enabled only after a valid deposit amount's been entered. So we're going to go ahead and test the validation here. First, we'll start with a 0. As you see, an error message comes up. If you try a negative number, same error message, and then if you try a letter, you also get it. We'll put in a valid amount of 100, and let's go ahead and deposit that. As you see, it gives you a success message. The deposit button becomes disabled again, and it updates your balance. So we can go ahead and go to the withdrawal button to show you the same demonstration, basically. So we're on withdraw, and as you see, we're going to do the 0, error message, negative number, also error, a letter, also the error message. And now we'll take away the 100 that we added. So let's withdraw the 100, success, and your balance has been updated. You can click back and forth between deposit and withdraw and see that it's the same balance amount. Now, some of the challenges I encountered. The assignment suggested a bucket name that consisted of uppercase letters and an underscore. This unfortunately caused an error. As it turns out, AWS requires lowercase letters and hyphens, not uppercase and underscores. Another challenge was when I tried to log in, AWS asked me for a multi-factor authentication code. And after doing some research, I chose to download the Google Authenticator on my phone and sync it with AWS. Design decisions. The 4 design decisions I'm going to talk about are how I got the navbar links to reflect the current page, how I modified the presentation of the status messages, how I used a React subcomponent to display the accounts and all data, and how I did not use a form component yet. Maybe later, refactor maybe. Now let's look at the source code. In the navbar component, I created a state variable named currentPage and a setter function named setCurrentPage. When the user clicks on a link, I use the state setter to set currentPage to the page's ID. To set the appropriate class name, I pass the page's ID to a helper function named currentPageClass. CurrentPage class gets the page ID and compares it to the current page state. If they match, it returns a CSS class named currentPageLink. If they don't match, it returns a blank string. You can see that the currentPageLink class sets the link's background color to blue and the color to white. It also rounds the corners of the background. The original source code used a status that was a simple string. In order to display an error status in red and success in green, I turned status into an object with two properties: type, that is a string that represents if the status is success or error, and message, that is a string that holds the text we want to display. If the type is success, we set the divs class to success message. If the type is error, we set the divs class to error message. You can see here how success messages and error messages are styled. And finally, in the all data component, I created a subcomponent named user. You can see the props are deconstructed and the subcomponent returns a table row with the data. You can see here that we iterate through the user's array, and in each iteration we use the subcomponent. Finally, I decided not to use a form component because we are not actually sending any data to the back end, so we're not actually breaking any rules or best practices. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for your time.